What can you do when you do a great job walling up on James Harden in transition, but then you've got the most talented 7 footer, maybe most talented scorer in the history of basketball running behind him? What about when you do a good job on that 7 footer and he's able to shuffle it off to James Harden, also one of the most talented basketball players, scorers, passers ever? And yes, I said passers. How about that transition finish? How about end of the game? Nets love to set these flares, keep the defense occupied if you're going to help in. On KD's drive, Harden's going to miss the open look, but how about the presence of mind to go run it down, throw it back out to KD? That was a game-winning play right there. Let's deep dive the film, how James Harden fits in Brooklyn alongside Kevin Durant and maybe eventually Kyrie Irving. Make sure you follow Scout with Bryan and hit that subscribe button so you can get the full rundown when Kyrie comes back as well. First of all, things we know. The step back obviously is his bread and butter, unguardable shot. He's a 2-for-1 mastermind with it, almost always going to his right. It's his skyhook. It's completely unguardable. He obviously has been doing it, 8, 9 times a game his whole career if needed. He's going to do that to create his own shot in almost every circumstance. And really, again, there's nothing you can do because by the time he gathers the ball, you're done. I mean, there's no way that Dante DiVincenzo can do anything about that. James, little step into him, little closed step right into the step back. It's just filthy. And I hope that the Houston lobotomy that he undertook to never take a mid-range shot maybe is gone now and he'll be allowed to do things like that, where he was really damn good in the mid-range a few years ago taking that jumper. And yes, he'll get a lot of fouls, which you might not always agree with. Follow Scout with Bryan on Twitter. I'm going to deep dive those more on Twitter because we can't fit everything into this video. But obviously one of the toughest players in the league to stop in transition, to stop on the high pick and roll, especially with this footwork, the Euro step here. Filthy, filthy footwork, unbelievably polished, playing out of high pick and roll here. The Bucks are going to ice him, weak him, not let him use the screen, and he's going to do something he doesn't do all that often, to be honest. Go to his right, finish with that right hand. Kind of the one weakness in his game, generally speaking, if there was anything you could name as a weakness. It's also tremendous getting to that floater off the pick and roll. You see Brooklyn's going to run these actions all day to end up putting him in spread pick and roll situations. KD is going to be filling the what should have been the weak side here, but ends up being the strong side as James again snakes it back to the middle for his floater. This was an action Harden ran a ton of in Houston, kind of like a decoy way to get to delay, coming off to the middle. Again, for that floater is where he's so deadly once he gets into the paint if he can't get all the way to the rim. Here, trying to run a stagger away for Kevin Durant. Milwaukee doing a good job denying him. Okay, so now James is just going to go to work. And again, almost impossible to stop one-on-one because the step back is always a threat, and ultimately he's just going to find a way to get you to open up the tiniest bit, and then he's at the rim. He's got to his floater from there. He can launch from the free throw line right into that floater. And like I mentioned, the passing is tremendously underappreciated, misunderstood. One of the best in the league at what we call head manning the basketball, basically just throwing it ahead in transition. Look how he freezes the defense here by looking at DeAndre Jordan, looking like he's going to throw it to him right down the middle, and then whipping it to Kevin Durant in the corner. And now the defender's in a long closeout and has to wrap KD up just to have a chance of sending him to the free throw line. How about here? Look at him again. His eyes are always up, and we love to salivate over Lonzo, LaMelo, all these new guys, but Harden's been doing this forever. His hit-ahead passes are unbelievable. His touch on the basketball is really like Jason Kidd type in transition, and people forget that all the time because, yes, he did pound the ball a lot in Houston. He did take a ton of shots, but there are less than 5 players in the league who have better floor vision, pure passing ability, etc. than him, and to be honest, it might not even be close to 5. Look at this one, cut off in transition on a dime to Landry Shamet on the cut to the rim. Just a beautiful, beautiful pass. Tremendously high IQ basketball player, finding Joe Harris there in transition. And then, obviously, the passing out of the pick and roll, phenomenal as well. Like I said, the court vision, just reading these situations. Landry Shamet on the weak side here. Look how he gets up in the air. This is the only defender that can come in and help. And James is going to whip it to Perry on the roll for the finish. Beautiful, beautiful pass. All right, KD coming off a pin down. James got to drift a little bit more for him. He's got to get used to moving again a little bit, but okay, ends up going back into a high pick and roll. Jeff Green, he's also familiar with. Love to hit him with these behind the back passes to find Green popping for the threes. That's easy for James and a simple read they'll no doubt get a lot of. DeAndre Jordan, a great pick and roll partner, obviously as a roll man. James does a great job here. Again, reading the defense, reading the tag guys on the weak side. Terrence Ross coming off KD just a little bit, creates a long closeout. KD with the one-legged Dirk type shot where he is so filthy. This was a beautiful ATO by Steve Nash. A little flip back into a high pick and roll. Watch, I believe, Shamet coming across to take the tag guy away. So the only one that could have helped is right here, and he's too high up. So Harden's able to get the beautiful pocket pass, again, to Perry on the no-look. That pick-and-roll passing ability is up there with LeBron, Luka, and might, honestly, like I said, be the best in the league. Here, an angle pick-and-roll. Again, look at this pass. Gets up in the air, makes the whole defense pull in, because right now he's a threat to finish, to shoot the floater, to throw the lob. And KD's man again comes in. Beautiful pass, on time, on target, in KD's high shooting pocket for the assist. Look at this. This is barely a pick and roll. The super high screen kind of just nicked the defender off a little bit. But again, this is floor vision. This is IQ. Seeing DeAndre Jordan on the roll is opening up the threat. He's making these guys come in to have to tag him, take the dunk away. Again, finds Jeff Green behind the action for the three. You see, they love to set these high screens for Harden, try to pick his defender off full court, and again, that's going to open up a lot of shots for guys like Jeff Green at kind of the sometimes stretch 4, sometimes stretch 5, whatever exactly you consider him. Also phenomenal, obviously, at throwing these lob passes to DeAndre. We'll get plenty of them. James had that connection with Clint Capella for a long, long time in Houston. Again, just finds a way to engage the big in pick-and-roll type situations, and that's where he's throwing that pass. Joe Harris could be the best pure shooter he's ever played with, obviously besides KD now, but just a tremendous option that'll be a huge help for James. Here's a 21 or pistol type action. Joe Harris setting the side pick and roll and popping. He's great shooting off the move like that. Here, Harris sets a high one, slips out of it quickly. Great job pivoting out of that by Harden again to deliver the perfect pass to him. They should have a great chemistry. What does Harden need to clean up? He said the turnovers frequently. Here's one more, though, of Joe Harris, something he doesn't get enough credit for. James, the hockey assist. He's going to create a ton of these situations where, again, he makes the right read out of just attacking the cleared side. Ball moves. Again, that's a hockey assist for him. Doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but he gets a tremendous amount of those. Here's a great pass. Again, just playing point guard. Just isolating here, beating his man one-on-one, forcing the big to step up to help, and then he leaves it behind for DeAndre Jordan for the dunk. There you go. Drift. Get out of the way for KD. Give him a little more space. But like I was talking about, the one thing James even said he needs to clean up a bunch. The turnovers, clearly a big issue in his first couple games in Brooklyn. Still has got to get his timing down with everybody. Took a few too many chances. Got to get his rhythm back in that way a little bit. He's got to put this lob up a little bit higher for DeAndre Jordan. That's the right read, right play for sure. He'll find him a lot in the dunker again here out of the pick and roll, but he's just got to get that ball up higher so Nick Vucevic can't go get it. Again, James even said, comes from getting to know these guys a little better, knowing where they like the ball. That one, I don't know what the heck even happened. He's had a couple of those, and then Landry Shamet again, just understanding where you should be to spot up here on this play. James thinking he would stay kind of at the slot. Shamet starts drifting up to the top. Then defensively, obviously, you'll have some plays like this where he'll make Shaqting type falling asleep, his man crashing from the corners. Got to wake up a little bit more than that. And then how about getting on the floor, a little more effort. But I will say, James also tremendously misunderstood on the defensive side of the ball. Look at him pursuing Cole Anthony from behind here, staying with him on the multiple screens, ultimately stripping Anthony. The guy competes on defense. He also has a really good IQ, obviously, offensively, and it also translates to him having a really good understanding when to switch, understanding other teams' plays, knowing Vucevic on the post here. He can go dig at him, ultimately slapping the ball out. He's not going to make an all-defensive team. He's not a lockdown defender, but he is wholly misunderstood on that end. Again, has the ability to switch 1 through 5. He can guard guys in the post. He uses his lower body very physically. He can switch back onto guys and get a lot of steals from things like that. Look at him here. He's the low man coming in on Cole Anthony's drive, making him see bodies, but then having the presence of mind to get back out once DeAndre Jordan has that ball stopped. And again, get the steal. Look at him here as he's going to sniff out this back screen action, switch onto Vucevic again, and then once again, as Vucevic sets the screen, switch onto the driving Ennis, poke the ball away. He's been a tremendous presence in terms of getting steals in the first couple games he's played in Brooklyn here. Side pick and roll. Look at James on the weak side. Again, pulling in, being alert, helping on the dive cut by Anthony, and then knocking the ball out of bounds there. Very, very locked in on that side. Off the ball, yes, he's no Steph Curry. He's not going to fly around the court all game long, but you don't really have to do that when you got a guy, again, like Kevin Durant. Just sit there in your spot, and KD has enough space to get his shot off at almost any time. Again, here James is up top. He's used to in Houston, guys would guard him like up at half court, would face guard him. They can't do that anymore. Certainly not with KD, not with Kyrie either. So all he has to do really is be in a position ready to catch and shoot the ball. And again, it's hard to help much off him because he's such an incredible shooter, and that's going to open up the world for KD, for Kyrie. KD loves to face up in the mid-post. Coach Clifford was calling out, dig, dig, dig here. But how are you going to dig off James Harden? Again, just his threat as a shooter, as an elite scorer in the league opens up so many things. Playing the pure point guard spot, again, he's got to get used to this a little bit more. Brooklyn's going to run more plays than Houston did in most of his time there. But again, just reading these simple pin downs, defender shoots the gap, great pass, on time, on target. Again, to KD, they'll have good chemistry there. Here's a high pick and roll clip of them. If defenses are going to switch, it'll give KD a lot of opportunities to do what he loves, isolating the smaller defender at the nail, where he blows by him, and DeAndre Jordan's got to finish that one. And then here, finally, a little down screen into a side pick and roll. James and KD, 2 on the ball for a second. Now you're done. Now you have no chance of guarding this KD jumper where Harden, again, reads the play perfectly and hits him. Thanks for watching. Make sure you thumb up, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you follow Scout with Bryan on Twitter for the best basketball content in the league. Thanks for watching.